Greetings, everyone. It's great to be with you. It's great to be learning with you once again. Thank you so much for joining us. Our presentation today is entitled The Mystical Art of Vladimir Tretchikoff. And to begin, we'll have a period of meditation, and then we'll have the main body of the presentation. I want to share with you one of Tretchikoff's works of art that will be conducive for our meditation period we're about to have. Now, Vladimir Tretchikoff brought beauty and a broader perspective on humanity to homes worldwide through prints of his paintings, including one that is among the most well-known images of all time. We'll explore the life, work, and mission of this remarkable artist and Rosicrucian. We will consider a selection of his artworks, some of which of his paintings were exhibited at Rosicrucian Park in San Jose, California in 1953. We'll draw out for us many of the Rosicrucian laws and principles that are applied and depicted in these artworks of striking realism, color harmony, and intriguing symbolism. Now, the work of art before you right now is entitled Hindu Dancer. I know many of you greatly appreciate Indian classical dance and music. And Tretchikoff depicted peoples of the world. He himself lived in many different parts of the world, and I'll talk a little bit about that later in the presentation. And he was very, very respectful of people of wide-ranging genders and nationalities and heritages. And he appreciated beauty wherever he went. This work here of a Indian classical dancer, you notice, is quite intriguing in the colors and the multiple arms, which suggest the various movements of the Indian dancer. We know too that Shiva, the Lord of the dance, is a central figure of great significance to Indian classical dancers. Sometimes you'll see them pay homage to Shiva before they begin their performance. The various mudras or sacred hand gestures are shown here. The multiple arms suggest the figures that some goddesses such as Kali and Durga are shown in, but they also show in the dynamic motion and action of Indian classical dancer as they weave a sacred story such as from the Mahabharata. The golden colors of the dancer's jewelry on the forehead, near the third eye, but also in her garments and in the background suggest the great energy and motion and dynamism of the cosmos of the Lord of the dance. I'll show you a close-up on this work. What you'll see in the lower left here is Tretchikoff's signature. And we'll go in even closer on the dancer here. You know, she has her eyes closed in an inward state. It's quite striking that one of the special techniques of Indian classical dance is at certain points in relating a sacred tale, that the dancer may assume the god or goddess that's being portrayed. During our meditation shortly, we'll also undergo an act of assuming of the cosmic mind that has a parallel with this. But as past Grand Master Raymond Andreas said, to be on the lookout for truth, whatever form it takes, as in before us here. With the serenity and great cosmic action portrayed by the dancer here, let us start to turn inward now for our meditation. We're going to apply the booklet Liber 777, which I'll give you resources on later through when Karen pastes a link for it in the chat, and also in a link in a PDF document of the resources. So just take in a few final views of this inspiring work of art, showing the marriage of visual art, the art of dance, and of sacred mystical principles. And when you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes and take some deep neutral breaths, neither holding the inhalation nor holding the exhalation. But I invite you to extend the exhalation, which will automatically cause the vagus nerve to be stimulated, which leads to the relaxation response and a great sense of calm. The calm and relaxation are crucial for healing. And in the mystical sense, healing means to make whole. Just continue to take deep, neutral breaths. Later, you may wish to breathe your regular pace, but I invite you to breathe a little slower, now a little deeper, letting the toxins go out as you exhale and take in that fresh, vital life force, including its positive polarity, the cosmic essence. You may feel an enriching tingling in your body. You can feel the flow of the vital life force. You may feel it first in your toes and then in your other extremities and your fingers. Then it'll grow and you'll be even more sensitive, flowing throughout your body. This is part of our birthright. It's always there. We're just helping charging it and becoming more sensitive to it. You turn inward in meditation. Enjoy its tonic and healing effect for the mind and the body. And with each incoming of breath, I invite you to surrender to the divine within. In other words, be receptive to the divine within or the master within, our true guide in life. As our outer nature increasingly soaks up like a sponge, soaking up water, or soaks up the master within, the divine within, become more and more into the full maturation as a human being. And this is the heart of mysticism. Then we experience directly the divine. We act directly through the divine. We have a great sense of connection and meaning and well-being. When we start to increasingly have these experiences, these mystical experiences, they are surprising to the outer nature, but to our inner nature, they're deeply familiar. They're who we've been all along. It's a great coming home. A great sense of being well-founded, living in truth, living in well-being. Now, as we continue our meditation, I invite you to continue the discipline of the breath and the surprisingly integrated state of mind it helps bring about. We'll apply further the instructions of the booklet Liber 777 on meditation. I invite you to say with me now to following prayer and invocation. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and in worthiness. So mote it be. Now, fratres and sorors and participants, I invite you now to rise upward using your imagination and all your psychic faculties. To picture yourself rising up from the room where you're situated, up over the home or dwelling or building where you are, and continue upward and enjoy the exhilaration of the ascent. Rising up higher and higher in an inward way, taking in the view of your neighborhood, your city or geographic area, beautiful landforms that are applicable to your area. Enjoy the beauty and wonder of nature as we rise higher and higher. Now up over the province and the state where you dwell, and even the great nation or country. See below the landforms, the seas, the oceans, the lakes, the deserts, the mountains, the hills, farm fields, the weather systems, whatever is applicable to your locale. Continue to rise up faster and faster. Seeing now continent where you dwell, and even the hemisphere, and now the great, beautiful blue jewel of the earth rotating about its axis, and the moon revolving about the earth. And look up and enjoy the beauty of the solar system, the wondrous elliptical orbits of the planets, the great fiery ball of the sun, our local star. And continue up, going faster and faster, way beyond the speed of light as we transcend space and time and pass from the finite plane into the infinite plane. Let us continue to rise up higher and higher, faster and faster, beyond the nebula and the myriad stars, the quasars, the pulsars, the black holes, helping balance the universe, even beyond the great spiraling arms of our local home, the Milky Way galaxy. As you ascend, you may wish to look back at its wondrous action and appreciate as we look up a harmony of the spheres. It's been the inspiration of our artists from time immemorial, including Tretchikoff and others. And let's continue out farther and farther into space, applying the law of cosmic attunement, suggestive of the cosmos before us, as Rosicrucians use the term cosmic to mean the universal intelligence back of the cosmos, but also all natural and spiritual laws. At the same time, let us apply the law of correspondence, as above, so below. For as we rise up higher and higher, we'll also go deeper and deeper in a mirrored action within ourselves, feeling the increasing presence of the divine within, all around us and within us as a great unity. So fratres and sorors, continue to rise up. Participants, rise up, going deeper and deeper within as a dual action, out into the vastness and the suggestion of infinity in the universe of space. Journey towards what the Rosicrucians refer to as your personal home sanctum, the heights of the celestial sanctum, the center of the cosmos, the center of your being. When you reach your celestial sanctum, fill in the sights and sounds and all the sense impressions and all the different psychic sense impressions. Maybe an inspiring sacred temple, maybe a beautiful place in nature that is important to you. Fill in now the sights and sounds and feel the exhilaration, just as you felt the exhilaration of the vital life force coursing through your body. And as we rose up into the cosmic to the celestial sanctum, you may wish to picture there as well the seekers on this conference call with us, the Grand Lodge officers and Supreme Grand Lodge officers of the Rosicrucian Order Amorc, other seekers, the visible and invisible masters, all communing at the heights of the celestial sanctum. Possibly there's beautiful stained glass windows or works of art depicting Rosicrucian laws and principles within your celestial sanctum, incense rising up, being transmuted from the material to the immaterial. Just continue to fill in the sights and sounds of this inspiring place. When you have the celestial sanctum well visualized and registered in your mind, the deep awe that it brings forward to you, just release this visualization through the subconscious into the cosmic mind. And then let us dwell in silence, applying the law of silence for a time. Enjoy the deep enrichment of the silence. With each exhalation, the increasing receptivity of the divine within. continue to surrender and be receptive to the master within, the divine. With each breath, let go. Be receptive. Whatever comes to mind, just let go. And turn increasingly inward. The heights of the celestial sanctum. At this high point of spirituality, entering into the highest form of consciousness. Let's apply the law of cosmic attunement and a special variant of it. To assume the cosmic mind now. Just as the Indian classical dancer assumes the God they're portraying, a higher form of consciousness thereof, to portray the sacred story. Let us do likewise to assume the cosmic mind now. Experience as the cosmic mind experiences. Picture mind expanding throughout the cosmos, becoming one with the one. Be the cosmic mind now. Continue to picture your mind filling the cosmos, one with the cosmic mind, assuming the cosmic mind. Now, before we descend from the heights of the celestial sanctum, let us undertake another spiritual operation of the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order Amorc. I invite you now to participate with me as part of the Silent Council, in conjunction with the Council of Solace, the Rosicrucian Order Amorc. Let us radiate the center of our being, the center of the cosmos. Love and healing to all those who petitioned the Grand Lodge of the Rosicrucian Order Amorc for guidance and healing, and all those who have petitioned the affiliate bodies of the Rosicrucian Order Amorc for guidance and healing, and all those you know who are in need of guidance and healing. And to all sentient beings throughout the cosmos who are in need of guidance and healing, radiate love and well-being to them now. This is your mind expanded to fill the cosmos. Let the love and well-being fill the cosmos for all in need this time. Just let it flow like a great searchlight or flowing forth water. At a certain point, I think you'll find no longer any conscious efforts needed to radiate the love and well-being. At that point, just continue to surrender in one with the divine mind during this period of metaphysical aid to all in need. And enjoy the exhilaration of the flow and radiance. Now soon we'll formally close this period, sending metaphysical aid, assured that it will continue to radiate from us, part of our mission in life, as part of a way of life, as a student on the mystical path. Let's formally close this period of metaphysical aid by saying, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. Now, fratres and sorors and participants, let us continue to dwell at the heights of the celestial sanctum in meditation a while longer. Soon we'll begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum. This time you may wish to express gratitude through the law of gratitude to all those who've taught you well, to all those who have sacrificed for your well-being, for all those who have loved you well. Radiate love and well-being to them. Now, continuing in cosmic attunement, we'll begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum, descending at tremendous speed beyond the myriad stars, stellar phenomena, nebulae, interstellar gases, past the galaxies, see in the distance the beautiful spiraling galaxy, the Milky Way that is our home, and enter into the great arm where we dwell, past the myriad stars, nebulae, cosmic phenomena, see in the distance the wonder of the solar system and our great fiery ball of the sun, beautiful blue jewel of the earth. Taking you back to the hemisphere, left off the continent, great nation or country, province or state, county, city, or geographic area. And let's say, including prayer and invocation. May the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be. And let us continue down through our neighborhood to our dwelling, home, building, the room, and then into the room we left off, where we're situated, feeling recharged, re-energized, rested, all the more ready for the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order and work this day and always. If you wish to stretch and open your eyes, thank you so much for your participation and service. Now we'll continue with our presentation on the mystical art of Vladimir Tretchikoff. The work before you now is entitled Chinese Girl. It's also sometimes known as the Green Lady because of the blue-green coloration in the face person before us. It's painted in 1952. And I want to tell you when you look at it, and I think you may be remembering this work of art because it's one of the most well-known visual artworks ever made. Vladimir Tretchikoff was born in 1913. He passed through transition in 2006. He was born in Russia on December 13th of 1913. The area of Russia he was born in is now known as Kazakhstan. And after the Russian Revolution in 1917 broke out, he moved with his family to Manchuria, a region in China. And while still a boy, he painted scenery in the city of Harbin for the opera house there. Later, Tretchikoff moved from China to Singapore. He lived there with his wife, Natalie, and his daughter, Mimi, who was born in 1938. But when the Japanese invaded in 1941, there was a great exodus from Singapore for many people at that time of World War II. And Tretchikoff's beloved Natalie and Mimi had to go off on another ship, and he was separated from them. Later, he had to flee. He was working there as an artist on a ship, but that ship was sunk by the Japanese. And then he and other survivors started rowing to the island of Java, now in Indonesia. And it was there that the Japanese captured them, and he spent time in a Japanese concentration camp before he was released. He had to live on the island of Java. If you agree in the sense of his life has a lot of intensity and excitement and lots of opportunities to learn and mature, you're right, he does it. Some have said his life reads like a thriller even before he was 30 years of age in that incarnation. Strikingly, in Java, he met a woman that was both of Eastern and Western heritage. Her full name is Lenora Frederick Henrique Moltemo, but Tretchikoff just called her Lenka. And she acted like a muse for him, and he painted her. You may have seen some works he did of her. And after the war ended, Tretchikoff sought out Mimi, his daughter, and his wife Natalie in South Africa, and they were reunited with great appreciation in 1946. Tretchikoff held his first exhibition in South Africa in 1948, and during the 1950s and 1960s, he held many more exhibits around the world, which the Rosicrucians played an important part of, which I'll relate later. One of the biggest of his exhibitions was held in Harrods department store in London, England. in 1961 and attracted more than 200,000 visitors. Now, Tretchikoff's liked to paint portraits, still lifes, and animals, but he also did cartoons as part of his work. Now, his most renowned painting is the one I think, is the one you see before you. That's referred to as Chinese Girl. It was actually sold extensively as prints. He was one of the early artists to get involved with mass production of prints. And you may remember seeing this print in the home of a family and friends, particularly during the 1950s or 80s, and its popularity continues today. The model is Monica Singh Lee, who had some European heritage, as well as Chinese, and she was later also known as Pon Susan. And you recall part of Tretchikoff's early life was in China, and those peoples and their culture made a great positive impression on him. In a way, this work of art before us is a particular person, but also of humanity, embodying both the East and West. And is a beautiful exemplification of beauty, particularly feminine beauty. You see this deferred gaze that actually fascinates us and helps keeps our attention on the work. And also there's intriguing, surprising, and harmonious use of colors through the law of suggestion and law of harmony. Now let me show you another work of art here. I think you'll find quite inspiring as well. It's entitled Self-Portrait with Muse. Now, it's from 1949, living in South Africa. And you recall, of course, in ancient Greek philosophy and religion and mythology, the muses are inspirational goddesses of the arts and the sciences and literature. And they're often portrayed as 9 in number, with the Greek god of light, Apollo. And it's not quite uncommon to this day for artists to speak of having a muse, whether they're working in literature or in dance, the visual arts, and other art forms. It's still that sort of metaphorical, but in a way, a certain psychic and mystical experience of inspiration. You notice the work has heightened realism in the lower right here. We see the linseed oil and the oil paint and his brush and knife, so forth. But then also this great swaying and dynamic action reminds you somewhat of Van Gogh's Starry Night. And Tretchikoff was very familiar with the history of art. And all these colors that he used in the swaying here as the ocean acts. I'd like at this time to invite Karen to enable the chat and for you to type in comments about your feelings about this painting or your observations about seeing this work of art. How are you responding to it? And if you feel moved, type into the chat, and I select everyone so you can see. Thank you, Tracy. Hope. Yeah, definitely, very much. I feel that too. It's uplifting. Anyone else like to put a comment in? Thank you. Divine Feminine as a form of inspiration. Thank you. Divine Feminine, yes, very much so. Duality, the feminine, the masculine principle. Wow, great insights. Thank you very much. Absolutely love it, Shell. Okay, I can feel his excitement to get it out on the canvas. Very much so. Rose happy. Yes, I feel those things too. Powerful muse. Yes. I appreciate the variant textures and grounding. Yes. Looks like the style of times. Yes. I also see the cosmos, excitement, love, and beauty. Lots of comments coming now. Thank you. Very helpful and insightful. Ah, yes. The dream, yes. Sun shining as well. Great power and energy. Thank you. Yes, very ethereal. And a multidimensional quality. Mystical. Yes, exactly. A sense of unity. Painter's anima. Very, yes, quite insightful to an angelic. Yes. Interaction at the different levels, yes. Inspiring unity. Divine presence through the arts, yes. Guardian angel, universal mind, guiding and inspiring. Thank you very much, everyone. Yes, thank you. So lovely, great. Yes, he's smaller in his muse. Isn't that intriguing, isn't it? The sense of the vastness and the infinite one comes in contact through the muse. At this point, thank you so much for all your comments. Well, Karen, you can disable the chat for now. We'll consider opening it up later towards the end. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing, both through your comments and through your thoughts and feelings. Let us continue now with another work that you may find very intriguing. This is also one of his very well-known works of art, variants thereof. Where you'll see the beautiful flower, and if you look in close on it, lo and behold, there's a pin through the leaf associated. Someone had been wearing it, and then there's various things associated with a party here. But also look at the droplets of the water. Some is like the flower as if it's weeping. Is this something that has happened to a person during their time at their party and their contact with a beloved person or contact with others? See how they've done Tretchikoff. You can see down signature here and dated. See how he's done the water droplets, but also the cracks in the steps, and the shading to give that great sense of three-dimensionality through the law of suggestion, but also the law of attunement we're applying to sort of sense go back. What was he thinking when he did this work, but also what does it suggest to us in our life? And we see here a cigarette butt. And this would have been, we know from his work and his commentary and his biography, and I'll give you some works about his life in the resources later, that this flower would have been very expensive. It would have been something very special to have. Often it's something you take home and let float in water. So there's something here about loss, but also poignancy of beauty in our challenging experiences as we apply the law of transmutation. The work comes alive through the suggestion of shadow and the three-dimensionality, and both a symbolism and a realism at the same time, which made him so much beloved. Tretchikoff, in some ways, was a controversial painter in the art world because many artists didn't like his work. It wasn't really doing a lot of the abstract expressionism of his time or similar. His work was quite realistic, and it was more popular with people, largely people that weren't artists, but there were exceptions of artists who really enjoyed his work. And over time, he's got more national acclaim and international acclaim, including in his beloved South Africa. The National Museum had a major exhibit there earlier in this century, the 21st century. And he persisted. Now, it's intriguing in this that there was a major exhibit of his work in a department store in South Africa. And there was a Rosicrucian from Zimbabwe, early Rhodesia, who saw the work and sent a catalog from that exhibit to the Rosicrucian Park. And there, the Imperator Ralph M. Lewis and the director of the Rosicrucian Egyptian Museum, Mr. French, saw it, and also Supreme Grand officers such as Arthur Piepenbrink. And they had the idea, how about we invite this person to come and exhibit at the Rosicrucian Gallery in the Rosicrucian Egyptian Museum. And that appealed greatly to Tretchikoff. He came in 1953 with his Natalie, his partner, and his loved daughter, Mimi. And he wasn't a Rosicrucian at that time, but Mr. French and Mr. Lewis, so the Imperator of the Order, came and met him at the train station. He came ahead of his daughter and his wife. He realized later what an honor that was to have the Imperator come and visit him and take him from the train station and speak with him. And he got very inspired by Rosicrucian Park and these Rosicrucians. And they provided all the advertising through Arthur Piepenbrink and others and arranged him to speak. And the Rosicrucians estimated approximately 25% of the San Jose population came and saw his exhibit. He was very busy. And let me show you the next work as we weave in more about the Rosicrucians here. You'll notice in this next work, which is entitled Water Lily from 1955, a very serene picture. And you notice the way the hands spread out, almost like an Indian classical dancer. Tretchikoff's signature on the lower right. The observation of the water lily. Different from the lotus, but having some parallels in its symbolism. The water lily is known as the sleeping beauty, or as a sleeping beauty in Southeast Asia. You notice the background scenes there are very dynamic energy. But again, there's sort of that inward state of the sitter or the viewer. Suggests the divine feminine again, yes, but also the unfolding, like the rose we speak of in our Rosicrucian tradition, of also like the rose opening up for our spiritual awakening. It's a very dynamic work with energy, but also a very calming work, just like we calmed by our inward and outward breaths. This work of art has that effect on us, just like meditation. In a way, it's meditative to look at it. Now, Tretchikoff also was quite inspired by various artists, such as Van Gogh, and you'll notice you may love Van Gogh's work of sunflowers. Well, here Tretchikoff takes up the subject matter as well. And you can see again the dynamic and energetic background, the wonderful weaving of color harmonies, the use of the law of suggestion to give that three-dimensionality of the order and symmetry and three-dimensionality of pattern of the rich and complex sunflower and taking up the waters for its life, but also the sun in ways like us growing and maturing, the rose unfolding again. And you'll notice the rather intriguing effects to help give the three-dimensionality of the glass and the suggestion of the glass through these depicted curved rectangular squares. When Tretchikoff first came to San Jose, he was concerned because at that time, the Rosicrucian Park was a little further out from the main center of the city and not as populated around as it is now. He wondered, would people make the extra effort and the longer bus ride out, for example, or the extra drive out? But he soon found that people came in large numbers and they were thrilled to see his work. And indeed, his art exhibit was a special feature and one of the highlights of the 1953 Amherst World Convention, or the World Convention of the Rosicrucians that was held at Rosicrucian Park in July of that year. Let's continue to see some other artworks by Tretchikoff of dynamic action. Here you see one that is entitled African Drummer. It was common for Tretchikoff to depict various peoples of the world, and that's part of what drew the Rosicrucians to invite him to come and exhibit his work at Rosicrucian Park, because he had that larger sense of humanity, of the one soul that underlines us all, that sense of cosmic unity that we entered into when we meditated today. You notice the dynamic action, the law of vibration, suggestive of the law of the cosmic, or the cosmic keyboard that Rosicrucians speak of, the great sea of vibrations, and also the great solar energy that's behind the figure to the upper left, radiating out in lines and etchings. Very respectful. He was living, of course, at that time in under apartheid in South Africa. And some of his works are credited with helping give a greater awareness of the need to live in unity and respect all peoples transformative to the world in South Africa. Another very special work that he did that I think you may recall seeing is called The Dying Swan. In fact, this work appeared on the back cover in color as a reproduction on the April 1953 Rosicrucian Digest. I know many of you are very familiar with the history of ballet and very much enjoy seeing performances. This Dying Swan painting was posed by the renowned ballerina Alicia Markova, and he was able to convince Alicia to pose for him, and she was having a tour through South Africa, going from major city to major city, and he traveled with her during her busy schedule. She took some times out in the various cities to actually pose for him. This is the scene from Swan Lake. I know many of you love that ballet. And in a way, it's a great appreciation of life, but also the letting go of life, the letting go of our outer form. We refer to dying, but in Rosicrucian as the transition from back to the inner divine state and the great initiation. The grace of this work, the intriguing background, the letting go, the unity between the human and the animal and of all nature and the cosmic is wonderfully portrayed there and was befitting to be on the back cover of the Rosicrucian Digest. Another beautiful, intriguing work I wanted to show you is entitled Wildebeest, and you'll see the tremendous dynamic action of these animals of Africa. And it's done in a more abstracted way, as if moving uphill, and the lines and the position of the legs of the wildebeest show their great nobility and action and their own harmony with nature and with the inner divine. It also suggests to us is the force of life and the dynamic actions that are going on within us and throughout the cosmos. The subtle harmonies of colors are again with us. And it's suggestive of a story of various reasons that they may be on the run, maybe being pursued or for some other reason. But it's something that holds our attention well, and it shows the versatility of this artist. Another intriguing work of art that you'll show before you now is entitled Beatnik Girl. Again, of the divine feminine, yes. It's intriguing too with Vladimir Tretchikoff's awareness of the history of art. There's often a reclining figure is a well-known motif of the reclining Venus. Here, with the reference to Beatnik, a woman that you'll notice she's lying on a newspaper that has lots of clues of meaning to us. You'll see civil rights mentioned here. There's also the sea diamond. There's also an ad for women's attire, the opening up and the more increasing awareness of women's rights. There's also here expression of topless, more broadening of mind, like counterculture, the beatnik culture, Jack Kerouac, and Allen Ginsberg, and many others who inspired the artists of the 1960s, not the least of which was Bob Dylan. And we see back over here, they have the Fab Four. You can see the fourth figure here depicted, and you'll notice the word Beatles in here in the newspaper Times. And intriguingly, we have a knife with an egg, and with the knife is cut open, the orange. Some have interpreted this as as sort of that, the turning inward, the going inward to reflect on the more inner truths of life. The water, which is often a glass, often a motif in Tretchikoff's life, and an important exercise we do as Rosicrucians. See, in the 1950s, he was inspired by the Rosicrucians. He actually became a student of the Rosicrucians and became a member of the Good Hope chapter, the Amorc affiliated body in Cape Town, South Africa, where he lived. This work of beautiful proportion and harmony, but also suggestive of that time of the 1960s, where persons were incarnating again, that were of a more progressive set of mind to help free up humanity and learn great lessons. The knife and the egg are suggestive in their symbolism as well, the cutting through to truth, but also the egg, the embryo, and the growth, and various other things along with the life-giving water. You notice he's done the shades and the shining to give the three-dimensionality, the various the lipstick and the makeup of the young woman, her haircut somewhat like the Beatles over here, all seeming very, very comfortable and at ease within herself as she explores life. Let us continue on this theme also of the arts as well. Here's another action figure shot of entitled The Penny Whistlers. They're showing everyday life in South Africa of these musicians with their whistles and with their guitar, and they're in action. You can almost hear what they're doing, and a continuation of the art traditions of their heritage. And it's done with great respect for humanity. You notice too how the three-dimensionality comes out through the shadow effects, and you get a sense of the actions on the flute to make the sounds. The hands in motion here, you can see that the guitarist's hands moving like the wildebeest, stroking here in a very simple background, like a brown material. And they look like they're joyous, experiencing the cosmic keyboard in their own way and attuning with the cosmic, which is one of our birthrights as human beings, to attune with the cosmic through the arts and through the muses. And a wonderful range of colors and the richness of life suggested of South Africa and the South. Now, as we get close to the end here, I want to show you a few more works. And this one is entitled Resurrection. And of course, concept and the experience of resurrection is important to mystics. We know the resurrection through the Master Yeshua, Christ consciousness coming forward. Here we see it through a feminine figure. Again, as some of you mentioned earlier, the divine feminine. We see rising up from a rebirth, just as we did in meditation. We came into being remade, re-energized. The wondrous energy and colorations of the blue, the upliftment that portrays the darker colors here of moving from the so-called death to life, all part of the great drama of life, but also the great lessons in life that we are to embrace, the greater recognition of the divine within us, and the beauty of the human form, a microcosm of the macrocosm. In a way, it's a reference to some of the resurrection, not only we see in the Christian spiritual tradition, but also other traditions that speak of an awakening, a coming into enlightenment, a drawing forth of our full aliveness, full openness to living. The resurrection is in process, but we can sense how it's coming forward, and even suggest that rebirth within ourselves. Quite beautiful effects you see here in the abdomen of the resurrected figure. We can actually see through it, suggesting more the psychic and mystical nature, in a way like the art of projection that we learn in the Rosicrucian tradition, to have our consciousness in distant places, but through the mystical union in all places at once. So at this time, I'll start to move towards concluding, and I'll show you one more slide which has two images that are back on that self-portrait theme here. The one on the left is very reflective in its nature. It was done in 1962, and you get a sense of Tretchikoff, the artist, fulfilling his mission in life. He's working with his canvases and his colors, and he's turning inward as to trying to visualize what to manifest. But also on the right here, we see, similar to that earlier muse self-portrait, the dynamic actions suggested of the cosmic keyboard, the vibrations to ultimately be placed and manifest on the canvas. His gaze here is straight on us, in a way, inviting us to be artists and self-masters, as he had a degree of mastery of art. At this time, I'll ask Karen to paste for you the resources for the presentation in the meeting chat. We'll also upload them in a PDF that you may wish to download and find easiest. So we've looked at various Rosicrucian laws and principles and how they've come about through the law of gratitude, the law of creativity, the law of cosmic attunement, the law of suggestion, the law of vibration, among others. We've also looked at the dual nature of the human being with the law of polarity, but also the one soul that's united within us with all. They suggested by this inspired artist, and part of the reason that he was invited to exhibit at Rosicrucian Park and what attracted him to the Rosicrucian studies ultimately. At this time, I'll add too, I hope the mission of Vladimir Tretchikoff has also inspired you in your own creative way in your life, in whatever form it takes, and helps reinvigorate the enthusiasm or interest in the Rosicrucian studies, their exercise in applying them.